right, well, my title today is Strength is Being Strong. And there are sayings out there that really can be upsetting, like when someone says, be strong, or stay strong, or you are strong enough to handle it. It is an assumption that we are to deal with whatever comes our way. And I know I can feel, and all of us probably can feel, as if we are trying to help somebody when we say those kind of things, that we're encouraging them. But, you know, when we're in the midst of something that we feel like we need to be strong with, we probably really don't want people to be saying that to us, do we? It's kind of like we don't want to hear it, because we're in that place. And we don't want to be strong when we're in that place. We don't want to stay strong, and for sure, we don't want to handle it, do we? In reality, what we really want to do is we want to scream and cry and try to release it and let go, but sometimes we still have to scream and cry some more before we really can. And once we get through that, then we can say, listen to somebody telling us to be strong. So you might be thinking this is contradictory to the title of my message, but I'm going to explain that a little bit further as we get into it. So just hang in there. But we will explore being strong today, and we will be building on Reverend Warren's message last week, which was about strength. And we're going to further explore that power of strength. But first we have to affirm our statements of being together, please.
I am a child of God. I am deserving of good in my life. I am accepting my good now.
So when I say strength is being strong, I think what we're going to have to do is kind of break this down a bit. First, we know strength is one of the 12 powers, and it's the 12th power for March. And as we learned from Reverend Warren last week, which I love this description Fillmore had, strength is the energy of God. Reverend Warren, would you close that one door back there, please? Because the glare off that car. You kind of look enlightened. That's good. Thank you.
I still don't have that same light?
Yes, you do. It's shining off the top of your head, but that's okay. No, I see the energy of God through you. That's what it is. So the energy of God is freely moving through each of us, and we are the expression of God here on this earth. And we forget that sometimes, don't we? But what are the attributes of God? How can we say we're the expression of God on earth if we don't really know the attributes of God? Which takes us to the next word, which is being. Being is God, the mind of the universe composed of archetype ideas, life, love, wisdom, substance, truth, power, peace, and so forth. And if we are in a state of beingness, we naturally align with those attributes. Don't we strive to live a full life full of love and peace and joy and truth and power and strength and all of that? Isn't that what we're striving for?
Yes.
Yes. And when we pray and meditate, we center on that Christ within. We just had prayer and meditation, and we center on that Christ within, and that is the state of being, with a capital B. And every week we affirm our statement of being, which says, everybody say it with me, there is only one presence and one power in my life, and in the universe, God the good, omnipotent. Why is it called our statement of being? Because we are affirming the truth that God is in our lives, and that this is how we live from that truth, from that essence of God. But how does this make us strong? We think sometimes that strong is just being able to lift or move heavy objects like a weightlifter, or to be able to withstand difficult tasks like an analyst or a nuclear scientist or something. But what if strong is how we feel when we think of our spirituality? If you can stand here and tell me your credo, tell me what you believe, you're standing strong in your spirituality. And it could be one word, it could be 3 sentences, it could be a dissertation. Whatever. But we have to be strong in our spirituality in order to go out and be strong in the world. When we know what we believe in, then we feel that strength in our bodies. And knowing is a thinking ability, where feeling believing in something is a feeling quality. So those two things work together. And just like we talked about for love and faith, working together in the thinking and the knowing, when we know by thinking what we know to be true about God, about ourselves, saying life, love, peace is all in my life, and believing that, then we are going to be expressing strength. Do you see that? Now, how do we keep living in this state of beingness, you know? You have to realize that beingness has a personal and impersonal side to it. The impersonal principle of being, of God, if you will, is inherent and undeviating in the laws of truth, meaning it stays the same always, okay? But being, as far as personally goes, is our own relationship with God that we each have, and that's a personal thing. It's not impersonal. In the impersonal part, we all have the same. We all have the same powers, 12 powers, all the same level of 12 powers. Just because Warren and I come up here every Sunday and do a message doesn't mean we're more spiritually evolved than anybody else, but we do know what we believe in and how to express that, and that's what we should all strive for. That's what's cool about inviting new people. When you know what you believe to be the truth, and you know and you feel it within yourself, it's easier to say to somebody, come on, come to my church. Anyway, the question becomes, though, what is blocking us from living this state of beingness all the time? Don't you love that clog? But just like this picture of this clogged drain, you know, it says unforgiveness equals an energy block. Well, we have something within us that is blocking us from living from this place of strength and knowing our spirituality. And what if it is forgiveness? What if it is the idea of forgiveness, forgiving ourselves? The place in our body, though, that is associated with strength, according to what Fillmore had defined, is our lower back, right here. And I know that we've all been told over and over again, you know, lift with your legs, don't use your back, right? Or maybe you go out and do yard work and you start raking and you're doing all these weird moves, or lifting and you strain your back doing yard work. Or cleaning the house. I know I've been vacuuming before. You know, you vacuum, then you're wondering why your back hurts, you know. All these things can cause us, we can sleep wrong and wake up in the morning and our back can hurt. And so we can feel back pain, but if it's related to the power of strength, maybe there's something more there. Well, according to the Huffington Post, about 1 in 6 Americans suffer from back pain continually for every day of the last month. Every day you're hurting? A quarter of the population reports that they have had back pain in the last 3 months. That's a lot of pain. And when you think about back pain as the number 2 reason people visit their doctor, number 1 being colds and flu, I mean, come on, that has to be a crazy number, doesn't it? But what if all the back pain was attributed to something else? What if people with back pain have thoughts related to unforgiveness and have struggled with this in their minds, which have resulted in physical pain? I mean, we've talked about this before. When you've done something you know you shouldn't do, and especially kids get this right off the bat, you know, you feel sick in your stomach. Well, guess what your power source is for wisdom? Your stomach. So if you're making a wrong choice and you know you're making a wrong choice, you're going to your stomach's going to start churning at you saying, hey, listen to me. But if we cut off those feelings, we might not listen to it. Same with our back. If we are living in a place where we have not forgiven ourselves for something, or we feel guilty about anything, you know, which, I mean, from little kids, you know, we say, shame on you, don't do that, don't, you know, and you start getting that guilt built up. I mean, that could stay with you your whole life. Or, you know, all the other stuff that can happen when you're a kid that people do. But anyway, but it could cause that physical pain. But what if that all that anybody needed to do was to release it? was to release that utilizing the power of strength to get them through and shift their thinking into the state of beingness. Notice that I've said this several times now, that it is about forgiving ourselves. You see, the event or the situation or the person who might have initially caused the pain, the person who told you were stupid, or the person that told you, no, you can't do that, or the whatever happened in your life that caused you pain and made you not want to forgive someone else, you're holding on to that. And initially it is about that. But it is up to us to either cling on to the pain or to release it and move forward. You see, when we stay in the same place of the same story, we are tethered to the negative thoughts in our own minds. This is me saying this, but the thing about it is, it's like that old typewriter that keeps getting stuck on the same letter, and you can't get it to tap right. Anybody use an old typewriter? Come on. Or mess with it. Or they jam up together, when you're trying to type and the two letters are stuck there.
Yeah.
Like you can't pry them apart for love or money. It's the same thing when we get stuck in our story. We're stuck in the story. And we live from that place for most of our lives. But it has nothing to do with anybody else's life. It only has to do with us. The other person might not even realize that you were upset with them, or that anything had occurred. Or they might have already released it themselves and moved forward, and they're not even in the same yucky story anymore. But we get ourselves stuck in there. And when we cling to this story, we are creating a clog in the natural flow of energy that is not only occurs in our minds, but it occurs in our bodies and ultimately affects our spiritual growth. So we're just like that clog in the drain. We create that clog and we don't push it forward. We just let it hang out there. And the sink starts backing up and you're thinking, I need to get down there and clean that clog out. But we just keep letting that water slowly seep through the drain until we get so tired of it that we finally decide to do something, or we just live with it. I know people that have lived with clogged drains for years. Yeah, and sometimes I've been there before, but anyway. If you believe, though, in collective consciousness, everybody know what collective consciousness is? And if you don't, I'll explain in a minute, but then you know that this is the explanation. Whatever you think collects with other thoughts that are like that, right? They collectively collect. Yeah, collectively. And they create a momentum that can, at the tilting point of overflow, rain down the negativity we have created. Okay? So, I think most of us have probably felt that rain before. It might have been a sprinkle on us, and it might be just a whole downpour, But the thing is true when we think about positive thoughts, too. You see, positive thoughts can collect in that collective consciousness, and they can come to us and through us like a bolt of a big old rainbow, like just God's blessings coming through to us. Because all the good that is there is awaiting for us. And we have to have the strength and the faith and the love to be able to accept it and allow it to come through. So, and the other thing about that is, when that happens, when you're living in the positive and you're allowing it to come through, it's not just for us. It's going to benefit everybody around us. Because, again, you're talking about that collective consciousness. Do you see what I'm saying? So that's why we want to live from there. Now, I know I don't want it to rain down negative. I want it to rain down positive. Who's all for the positive? Yeah. Well, Phineas Quimby, I won't say P.P. Quimby because Warren doesn't like me to say that, but Phineas Quimby, father of New Thought, wrote this: happiness is not dependent on externals, but lies within us and is the consciousness of keeping our loftier impulses free from contamination and revealing in our acts a strength which arises from uncorrupted motives. Now that's powerful, folks, because uncorrupted motives. Are you doing things just to be doing them, or are you doing things to try to get something back? And if you're doing it to get something back, you could be doing it just to get that negative reaction back too. Not just a positive. You could be doing it not just to say, oh, I'm going to be nice to so-and-so because they're going to give me something. No, you could be doing it like, oh, I'm going to say this because I'm mad at that person and I want them to know that I'm mad. You know, it's the same thing. Negative or positive, either way. But if our motive is pure and from that place of the essence of the Christ within, everything that you do will come from that place of love and strength. It won't come from anything else. And the only thing that can result in is good. And who wants good in their life? I know I do. Yeah. And the thing is that energy, that strength is the energy of God that is going to keep us on that right path. That will result in happiness always. But first we have to go deep within ourselves. And we have to find out from ourselves what thoughts are tangled up in that plug in the drain. You know, what thoughts do we have buried or that we know are there that we need to release? And again, it has nothing to do with the other person. If you think you have to forgive somebody else, you're riding the wrong choo-choo train, folks. Because you have to forgive yourself for not loving the other person no matter what. Don't we believe that the Christ is within each of us? And don't we behold the Christ in each other? That it doesn't matter what anybody says or does. They're doing their own thing. We, though, have to be able to still look at them and say, I behold the Christ in you. I can see beyond whatever you're doing on the outside. You know, and know that you still have the Christ within you, and I'm sending you love. And that's more powerful than any negative. And what it can even do is that can be so powerful that that person that had done whatever they're doing could feel that love, and that they will feel it. They will feel the love and that energy, and they will begin to make a shift. You might not be able to see it, and it's none of your business whether they do or not. But if you are doing the work that you're supposed to do, then you're living from the place that you're supposed to live in, and your back's not going to be hurting you anymore. Just saying. Fillmore says this about forgiveness. It is a process of giving up the false for the true, erasing error from the mind and body. You know, just like that guy on the bridge holding on that ball. You know, he's not letting go. How many days or years do we walk around holding those balls or dragging them behind us? You know? I mean, we do. Erasing error from the mind and body begins thinking thoughts aligned with truth, thoughts aligned with beingness, and feeling that within our bodies. The difficult part is not the forgiveness. It is the fact that we have to give up something. I thought about this a lot because I thought, why is it so hard for us to forgive ourselves? You know, we can easily say, oh, I forgive you. Bill, I forgive you. Not that you did anything. But we can easily say that to someone else thinking, oh, yeah, you know, that makes us a bigger person. But does it? No, because we're still the way you say it. You know? Oh, I forgive you. No. What about you forgiving yourself for thinking anything less than love? There's where we have to go. But I thought about it that we have to give up something about ourselves. We have to give up something that has created a powerful memory, whether it was good or bad. You know, again, we have to give up that part of our story that we've clinged on to our whole lives. We all have done this. You know, we have to be able to give up that part of ourselves, that very intimate part of ourselves that is clinging on to whatever it is that we haven't forgiven ourselves for. And that's tough to do sometimes. It's tough to give that up because we all have a history, and it includes events that some are not pleasant. But we feel like they have shaped who we have become, and sometimes we want to tell our story because we want to say, well, this happened to me, but that made me a stronger person. No, that thing that happened to you isn't going to make you stronger. What makes you stronger is the ability to know who you are as a child of God. Our spiritual strength. That's what makes us stronger. And the essence of us is that strength. And it's always evolving anyway. We're always spiritually evolving, aren't we? We don't want to just be stagnant like that clog in the drain. And if we can realize that we are no longer the person we were when it took place, that event that we were hanging on to, we can more easily release it, give it up, and forgive ourselves for having any thoughts less than loving. I love that cartoon. Unforgiveness is like taking poison and hoping the other guy dies. And it's true. I mean, it's true. You know, for example, like, I know some of us have gone through a divorce or we had a bad breakup or whatever, and I know for me it wasn't pleasant at the time, and I know I clung on to that story forever. Because I was angry and I was ashamed and my life got turned upside down. And I lost a bunch of stuff, you know. Here I am going into the story. I wasn't going to go there. But it took a long time for me to change my views. And yeah, I went to therapy and I told my story over and over and over again. How many people have done that? And you know, sometimes we need to tell the story over and over again. Sometimes we need to do that laundry a bunch of times before we can get beyond that place of feeling like we've cleansed ourselves from that, whatever has happened. And that's okay. It's okay to go through that. The trick is not to stay in that. Don't stay in that story. Don't stay in that place where you're having those feelings no matter what they are, because who are they affecting? Yourself, aren't they? Yeah. And what happens is we get stuck in that mud, we get stuck in that drama, and that's how we live our life. And who wants that every day? You know, nobody really wants drama, do they? Anybody in here want drama? No, good, good. And nobody wants to live in it, do you? And you sure don't want to hear from somebody else, do you? I know. I mean, we don't really, you know. But we get stuck in that. So I have my acronyms for drama, and I think I put them in your bulletin board. But this is the definition of drama. Demonstrating ridiculous actions, magnifying actuality. Isn't that drama? Yeah. And the second acronym I have is to remind ourselves to say no to drama, which says, say it all together, don't randomly accelerate mediocre actions. That's all it is. Everything in life happens, and we all can tell the stories 90 to nothing. But they're just mediocre stories until we dramatize it, right? I mean, it's like watching a soap opera sometimes, right? I mean, we don't want our lives to be like a soap opera, do we? Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. Yeah. But when we live in drama, we're exaggerating our lives and we get out of control and we keep holding on to that story and we're not going to that place of forgiveness and we're for sure not going to be healthy. Because living in the drama elevates your blood pressure. You put your body under stress and anxiety. It can bring on premature graying. Who wants that? No one. It can cause you to overeat or undereat, both of which are not healthy. And it causes all kinds of various other health issues. So our bodies don't want that. Our bodies are telling us that, right? Mm-hmm. Let alone our minds or what our thoughts are or our spiritual growth. We don't want to experience it. And so it all shows up in our bodies and our minds and blocks our spiritual growth, just like that clog in the drain. So we have to remove that and we have to get beyond them. And I think that's why people have pains, and people have back pain specifically because of the strength, the idea of strength, being able to stand spiritually in strength and know what you believe. You know, if we all would wake up every morning just saying that statement of being, you will get out of bed feeling stronger and healthier, I guarantee you. Everybody knows that by now, right? Yes. The statement of being? Let's say it together. Let's see if we can say it without the PowerPoint. There is only
one presence and one power in my life.
And in the universe,
God of good. Amen.
Good job. Yeah, I like that. It would change our lives. We don't have to live in that pain. We don't have to live in that place where we start running around talking to all our friends about this symptom that we have now, or we run to the doctors to find out what that cure is, or anybody that will listen to this, to dramatizing the pain. And I'm not talking just physical pain either, folks. I'm talking about the pain when you start saying, well, so-and-so made me mad. Or I got so mad, or I'm so upset with so-and-so. That's pain too, isn't it? Yeah. And that's the kind of stuff we don't want to live from. And we want to be able to, if we begin to start saying that, stop and forgive yourself and say, oh my gosh, I'm sending less than loving thoughts. I'm putting words out there to somebody that is less than loving. And I don't know about you, I don't want that stuff coming back to me. Do you? Because if you're saying it, guess what? It is in you, and it is causing more damage than what you ever could cause to somebody else by saying anything negative about anybody else. Unfortunately, that's the way it works. Fillmore wrote, it is through forgiveness that true spiritual healing is accomplished. Forgiveness removes the errors of the mind, and bodily harmony results in consonance with divine law. The law is truth, capital T, truth, and truth is all that is good. There is no power or no reality in sin or error thinking. And we know that that's what we call sin, error thinking. We don't call it sin. Sin is like a mistake, for those of you here for the first time. We don't beat you up with sin. If sin were real and enduring, like goodness and truth, it could not be forgiven, but would hold its victim forever. I don't want to be a victim forever, do you? No, I want to forgive myself for any thought that I have had that has been negative towards any person. Think about that. Who can do that? I'm working on it. And who wants to work on it? Yeah, because every time we have one negative thought about anybody, and this is a powerful time to be talking about it too, with politics going on, because I've seen Facebook, and I'll tell you, and please, nobody get their feelings hurt, but if anybody puts anything negative up about any candidate, I hide it, because the thing is, I don't want it on my page, because I don't want to read that, I don't want to see it, because the thing is, whoever ends up being president, I want to honor them and see them as the President of the United States, which is a place of position that we should respect and love and cherish no matter who is there. You see what I'm saying? And if we can't behold the Christ in another and we're sending a bunch of negative stuff, then what is it going to result in? That's all we're going to be seeing. The person who's president's not going to be feeling it. We're the ones that are going to be feeling it. So if we can sit there and think about every negative thought we've ever had for anybody, or anybody that we've ever said, I can't stand that person. I mean, that's a good place to start. Make yourself a list. Start forgiving yourself for having those thoughts or those ideas or those concepts about somebody else. It changes everything. You know, I tell people, I see everybody as this beautiful person. You know, when I look at somebody, when I look in your eyes or I see your face, I see you as beautiful. I don't care who you are or what you think you are or anything. We are all here to be that expression of God. I started that out in the message, and it's true. We are the energy of God, and if we're the energy of God, we can't say we don't like somebody, because you're saying you don't like God. And you guys are all the face of God. So we have to switch our thinking, and we have to let go, and we have to release anything that stands in the way of that. And it all does come back to us. And for every person that you release in your thoughts, that you forgive yourself for, you will feel lighter, you will feel healthier, you will feel stronger. You will be able to come forth with the spiritual conviction that you love life and that you want to be a part of this and you want to express all these gifts that God gives us, and it's all going to be good. And all of that is strength, being strong. Do you understand that? And I have to throw in some myrtle because myrtle's like so cool. I just love myrtle. Whatever the cause of the appearance of negation, turning the attention Godward with willingness to look into all phases of daily living and to make such adjustments that are wise and loving toward the body. So sometimes we have to forgive ourselves for what we think about our own selves too. will quickly relieve all strain and congestion and allow free flow of life to renew nerves and structures. Nerves and structures. Don't we want that? When we use the power of strength in a spiritual way to think thoughts aligned with God, aligned with truth, we are using the power of strength to feel it physically in our bodies. We renew a free flow of energy to our lives. The clog will be gone because strength is the energy of God. Strength is being strong. Thank you for being here today.